What's up, you guys? It is I, your boy Keith, your man of letters, here to provide information, knowledge, and entertainment. Anywho, my experience with masturbation and saving up sex energy to perform certain things. Now, you can save up sex energy to do almost anything. If you think about the orgasm in terms of pure energy, rawness in the physical world, I don't think there is a stronger creative force than male and woman ejaculate. Or whatever you want to call it. And then here's the reasoning why. There's creative energy on every level. There's three. There's physical, and there's emotional, the emotional body, and then there's the mind, the intellect, right? Those are the main three, and then of course there's a number of in-betweens. But let's just keep it simple and say, the mind, the emotion, and then the physical. Each level corresponds to each other level. They all have the same exact laws. The way they manifest is different because they are on different planes. For example, so you have happiness is an emotion, right? You feel happy, that's an emotion. That is an experience being created on the emotional plane. And then you have its physical counterpart correspondent, which is dopamine. So everything that exists in the mind and ether, once it gets brought onto the physical realm, it has to occupy physical space. And then we learn about that physical thing and we give it a name, right? So you can use your thoughts, which is the beginning, your mind, to say, maybe to make a decision on how you want today to go. And then you program your thought, and then you start to feel an emotion, right? And that emotion is the next level down, and then that emotion triggers a physical sensation, which gets released as dopamine. So you have the three parts. You have a thought, you have an emotional reaction, and then you have its physical counterpart, how it manifests in the physical world. Now, when I say semen, and I'm pretty vulgar about that, semen, right? It's the most powerful creative force on the physical planet. It literally creates life. Human life is from the male reproductive fluid. So to save those things, to then shoot back up, is how we manifest certain things. So in Kundalini, we're getting to story time soon. Kundalini, you save that sexual energy. Kundalini energy is about taking the energy from the spine and rising it through the chakra up to your crown. Now think of it in an electromagnetic field. You know how they go like this? Origin goes out the top and it comes back down through the bottom. Imagine that as being the Kundalini energy, out to the top, into the bottom. It's this flow originating at the base. So in Kundalini, in creating things, in changing things, the idea is to harvest the energy, or the sexual energy, which is raw, and it's very dense, right? It's because it's very earthly, it's very physical. So of the mind and the emotion and the physical is the densest, it's the heaviest. So we take that, and instead of having the orgasm and ejaculating and shooting out that energy, we bring it inward and we bring it up through the spine, and we almost like force it up, right? So you're going in the opposite direction of creation. Normally it starts in the mind, and then it trickles down through the emotion, and then it trickles down through the physical body. Well, what we're doing with utilizing sex energies, we're starting from the bottom and we're going to the top. Starting from the bottom and then we're going to the top, almost like a return to source. So you can see it, if you want, as a hack going backwards. Now you can do all sorts of stuff with this sex energy. I don't know much about sex magic, but this is essentially what sex magic is. It's taking the extreme power behind sexual energy, specifically the semen, and using that energy to broadcast a stronger signal to manifest the things that you want. Because the manifestation process has a couple different components, and one of those components is maintaining a strong electromagnetic field that resonates off of you, and it stimulates things in your surrounding. environment. Like, think of music. You play music that sounds real good. If I'm walking down the street playing a dance tune, the closer I get to someone, the more they're going to start to dance, because the music is stronger when you get closer to them. So essentially, what using sex magic or Kundalini energy through your sexual energy, essentially what you're doing is you're taking a guitar and you're hooking it up to a guitar amp, so that you're amplifying the energy. Your signal is now much further than it was before, which means you're playing the law of numbers. You know, the more things you come across, the more opportunities you're going to have that fit your paradigm. So that's what sex energy is. So someone asked me, Keith, what do you think about masturbation and energy and this and that? Don't jack off if you can help it, or at least don't finish. You know what I've actually done before? Oh, I'm just going to tell my story on my Kundalini awakening. Might be a while. I hope you got your popcorn. So what I did is I kind of makeshifted my own regime. I took something called the Twin Heart Meditation, which is not necessarily Kundalini. Now, what the Twin Heart Meditation does is it prepares your body for the amount of energy that it's going to be handling, because Kundalini is about unleashing very powerful energy that's going to stimulate a whole bunch of things. And if, just like in electricity, if you have really shitty old copper wire, it short circuits, it'll fry itself out. So you need really good wiring to run a lot of electricity through, otherwise it's going to catch on fire. So the Twin Heart Meditation is the same thing. It's almost like preparing your vessel for the excess amount of energy so that you don't fry your system. So that was a Twin Heart Meditation. And then I stopped masturbating and did a couple of other different Kundalini meditation techniques. And so I went like 112 days without masturbating. The thing about Kundalini is that it comes with a warning label. Because that energy comes up, there's been a lot of like psychosis related things that come up, and just general not feeling right. And I started to get that after about the first month and a half, 2 months. I started feeling weird in the head, and like little things started just seeming a little crazy, you know what I mean? So I stopped. I was like, this is getting too much. I couldn't handle it anymore. So I stopped the practices. I didn't masturbate, but I stopped the practices and I stopped all the other stuff. Check this out. About a week and a half goes by. I'm laying in bed and I'm listening to Alan Watts, and I slip into this meditative state where I'm like chilling, and I get super comfy. So I sit in a little longer, sinking into this meditation. Maybe it's about 30 minutes, an impromptu meditation, not on purpose, and I start feeling a very pleasurable sensation in my groin, like sexually pleasurable. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, that's curious. So I feel it out a little bit more, and a couple minutes go by, and I'm thinking to myself, if this keeps up, I'm gonna have an orgasm. Like, it felt like the build. My thought was, if I keep this up, what's gonna happen? It's gonna happen. It was the strangest thing. Another 10 minutes go by, my body starts to rattle, and I have a full body orgasm. Strangest thing. And it's a little vulgar, I'm sorry, but it's for educational purposes. Try not to get weird about it. It's unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. Normally, for men, the orgasm is focused right at the tip. It's 90% of the sensation, the feel good is there. But this time it was it felt like someone hooked my body up to a car battery. And they say, you do these exercises to get your body ready for the excess amount of energy. Literally, it felt like someone plugged my body into a car battery, and there was electricity flowing through every cell. And not only was it my body jerking as you normally would from being fried by energy, it was the orgasm. It was the pleasurable sensation from my head to my toe. It was the craziest thing you guys had ever experienced. Kundalini awakening. So It lasted about 30 seconds, which is also phenomenal because they don't normally last 30 seconds for a man. And so I thought, whoa. And then I thought, one time it was just a fluke. Like, did that just happen? What's going on? Am I gonna be like whatever? So I tried to do it again. I said, all right, if I can repeat it, then it's onto something. So I slipped back into the meditation. This time within about 5 minutes, same thing. Lasted about maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and I only stopped because I couldn't handle the energy anymore. I couldn't handle the intensity. Like I was shaking, So I took a breather and I thought, okay, 2 times is a big deal, but if I can repeat this a 3rd time, I'm on to something. So I sank back into the meditation. Within about 15-20 seconds, I was right there again. Full body orgasm. Felt like electricity. Nothing came out though. That was the interesting thing. It felt like there was a flow. It felt like I was actually having an orgasm and ejaculate and things were coming out. And I was like a lot. It felt like I've had the physical sensation of it happening. Was the strangest thing. But when I checked, there was nothing there. It was the most intense orgasm I've ever had without having ejaculate, and it just changed my whole world. It was the craziest thing. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I didn't, because you hear about things like this, Kundalini awakening and full body orgasms and this and that, and it's like, it's one thing to read it, but it's another thing to experience it. It sounds crazy, you guys, but I swear to God it happened. 2-3 days after, I feel like I'm high on drugs, or like the cleanest, crispest caffeine high, sustained, no jitters, almost a slight bit of psychedelics, like if you were to microdose, and it was like colors were a little more vibrant, conversations were a little more crisp, music came easier. I just felt flow state was accessed 24/7 for maybe 4 or 5 days. I slept beautifully. I woke up easily. It was phenomenal. Then I kind of tapered off. And to this day, I can still repeat that. It's not as intense as it was the first couple months when I was able to do this. It's mellowed a lot. But I can still get to that point. So this I attribute to the sexual energy, right? So you want to upgrade your physical body, is how I see Kundalini meditation. It's like a physical body upgrade on a cellular level, on a DNA genetic level, on a senses level, on a just body awareness level, and because we want to activate something so physical, bound in flesh, it only makes sense to utilize the most powerful energetic catalyst we have at our disposal, which is the orgasm, which is the sexual energy. I mean, we can make power plants and we can make nuclear bombs, like, of course, that, but as far as what I can generate of my own accord, as far as an explosive amount of energy, not much compares to an orgasm. Which is why I say which is why everyone says don't masturbate. This is why people who've gone no FAP, guys mostly, when they stop masturbating and stop watching porn, this is an energy dump. Your body, and not to mention, your body actually loses a lot of minerals. Like, semen is potent. There's proteins, there's blood, there's zinc, there's I don't know what else there is. I just know that zinc is pretty important for metabolism and efficiently running red blood cells, which is your circulatory system, which is your electromagnetic field, right? So if you're dumping zinc into a towel, that means you have to eat more zinc to make up for that, to do all the other processes in the body, etc., etc., etc. All these things have triggers. It's not just a spiritual dump, because your spiritual is connected to the emotional, is connected to the physical. So every time you lose something on any level, you lose something on all the other ones. So to lose your physical semen, men, is to lose the spiritual counterpart of that, is to lose the emotional counterpart of that. Here's how I like to see it for myself. If I'm really turned on, and I can manage to meditate for 15 minutes, it's like chaos. can't concentrate, can't sit still, can't get my mind off of wanting to take care of it in some way. God help me. It's not necessarily pleasant, but when you're done, it's almost like you're getting a box to close, and you're sitting on it and it won't close and it won't close, and you finally get it close enough to put the latch on it, and then the latch is on and it's effortless. Now the box stays closed effortless because the latch is on, and though there's a shit ton of things in the box, it's fine now because the container has been sealed. That's what meditating is like while extremely turned on. You're smashing this and it sucks and it's really hard, but when you get it there, you put the latch on, now you have a shit ton of energy in a small spot. And that spot is right at the base of your spine, right at the origin of the Kundalini. And then you cultivate it, energetically cultivate it, or mindfully cultivate it, literally, like focus on that spot while you meditate, bring it up through the chakras, let it flow out, imagine that electromagnetic field flowing, and then set your intention. Basically what you're doing is you're using the semen, again men, the semen, as fuel for the energetic motor of your electromagnetic field. So the more fuel you can save, the more energy you have for that motor. I think that's it. I feel like that's it. Did I cover everything? So I know that was very rounded. If you guys want to know the particulars, like what the practice I was, the exact particulars, diets, food, just general questions on what to expect, what to feel, how to propagate the sensation of bringing it up, or whatever might come to your mind, let me know, and I'll do what I can. I'm no Kundalini master or teacher, but I have experienced a full-blown Kundalini awakening in the orgasmic sense, so it's a good start. So if you enjoyed this video and you liked this video, it would mean a lot if you subscribed to my channel, shared it with others, maybe leave a comment just to say what's up. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, y'all.